Hello, English 145 students, and welcome to week 8 in the English Writing Center. So, week 8 marks about halfway through the semester. So, congratulations for, making it this far and keep going. We're almost there, and before you know it, it will be winter break and the semester will be all done, and hopefully we'll all have successfully passed English 145 and be ready to move on to English 101. So as always, I am here to give us a rundown of what we are going to do for the week. So we're just on the front page. You probably noticed this little message here. I'm going to leave it up just for a little bit longer to remind students to get that signature for week 6 if they haven't done so. And please remember this video will be posted right here. Right now it's week 7, but I'll update it with week 8. So let's go ahead and go to modules and see what's going on for this week. So now we're scrolling down quite a bit. Oops. All right, so let's go ahead and start on assignment 8 and see what it tells us to do. So assignment 8, it says, please read this information carefully. For assignment 8, you're going to learn about summarizing and responding to a reading. How is summarizing different than responding? So we get a breakdown of summary and response. And some of this might be review, some of this might be some brand new stuff, but read this carefully because you're going to pick up on some good pointers between the two, and they're probably going to come into to use in the writing section or the project. So read through those, and there is a sample response to another article, not the one that we read last week, The Youthful Offenders Deserve a Second Chance. This is a different article called The Failure of Abstinence-Only Programs. But you're going to read through this and you can see that the summary section is labeled in blue and that the response section is labeled in this purple. So once you're done doing that, we're going to move on to the actual project. So the assignment actually doesn't have us doing that much. So it says for the project, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use that same article from last week, Youthful Offenders Deserve a Second Chance. You can read it online. You can click on it here. It will download. You can click on this little magnifying glass and it'll open up on the actual web page, or we still have hard copies if you'd like one of those. So it says we're going to write 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph is going to use what we learned about summarizing and is actually going to have you summarizing in a paragraph the article that you read last week. The second paragraph is going to have us responding to it with our own opinion, our own views, our own, as it says, response to that article. So some pointers here says to summarize the article, keep this stuff in mind. Basically last week on those questions that we answered, we already did some of the work for this week. So you might want to pop back to week 7 project, look at some of your responses, and maybe even draw from that when you're coming up with your summary. So it also says that your summary must include at least one short quote from the article, as well as one longer quote. So quoting is something that you may or may not have done in the English 145 class, but this is an important skill to practice and one that you're going to be using for your future English classes for sure. So once you're done with the summary part, you're going to move on to the response where you state your opinion. So again, some pointers. It says clearly state whether you agree or disagree with the author's main argument and why. So even though it provides us with these 2 options, we can be in the middle. We can agree with some aspects of it. We can disagree with other aspects of it, but just make sure your stance is very clear. It says to use examples, use quotes or information from your own personal experience to explain why you take this position, or why you agree, disagree, or kind of simultaneously do both. So it says you should start by pre-writing or doing a rough draft on a piece of paper, and we can't stress this enough. Well-organized paragraphs are started with pre-writing and they're always ended with proofreading, just making sure you get the little stuff down. So it should be about 200 or 300 words. That's not that long. And remember, before you're done, just to raise your hand and call over a tutor. They'll check your work and they'll take a look at both the summary and your response. So again, just to make sure we're all clear, there's no text box here, so we just hit submit assignment and the text box pops up there. So yeah, that is just a short breakdown of what we are doing for the week. Again, if you have any questions, just let anyone in the lab know, and I hope we all have a good week.